Well, how's everybody feeling?
I'm so glad they brought my rug out.
Yeah.
I didn't know if they would.
You said backstage that this rug cost you $400,000.
Yeah, and I'm going to get as much use out of it as I possibly can. After we're done, we're going to have everyone walk up on here and give it a shot.
Yep.
It's a nice rug.
Oh, yeah. You said it's your lucky rug.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know, with the talk, we've been asked to talk about this rug for the next 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we're going to open it up to questions from you guys. Again, please limit your questions to the rug.
Yeah.
If you don't mind. Its origin, its backstory.
Well, just to get some FAQs out of the way right away. Crate and barrel.
Great.
Very nice. Not actually $400,000. That was inaccurate.
That was, that was a bit of overestimation on my part.
Of $48.
Yeah, there you go.
It's pretty nice, though.
It is lovely.
I get a commission if anyone buys these.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that brings me to a great first question. Is it true you're leaving comics behind to sell rugs for a living at Crate and Barrel? True or false?
I'm here at LA Live Talks
Yep.
to make an exclusive announcement. That is the case.
Yeah. You have just released issue 1 of Oblivion Song.
Yeah, and that's the last issue.
Which you're saying is the final issue.
All done?
The whole thing is just a Trojan horse for a Crate and Barrel ad in the comic for this rug.
Yeah, we tried to print the announcement at the end of the issue, but we ran out of time and
Wow.
had to go to press. So we're doing it here.
Great.
But yeah.
Great. So by the way, you guys,
Kirkmansrugs.com is my site.
Also, under everyone's seat, guys, check it out. It's a rug. This is like Oprah's favorite things, except that it's Robert's favorite rug.
I really want to do this for another 10 minutes.
Oh, I will do this I do not care about you people at all. I will do this for the rest of the night. I will ruin your experience.
The problem with this is I know next to nothing about rugs, and I'm really out of things I can say about a rug.
Oh,
well, I've said literally nothing about
Let's talk about the pile. Let's talk about the pile of this rug. Let's also talk about the design. Let's talk about its country of origins and the inspiration for some of these colors. Is it saffron that makes the orange color in the rug?
I think so. There's a special silkworm.
Okay.
That produces a very fine thread.
This brings me to my next question.
Yes.
You love silkworms.
I do.
You've got a whole Instagram called Robert's Favorite Silkworms.
You can make a hell of a tea.
Yeah. You can silkworm tea. Yeah. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite indie rock bands of the 80s and 90s, Silkworm. Guys, this is what we're doing. No, we are going to talk about Oblivion Song, among other things.
Possibly might say a thing or two about Walking Dead, but
I would rather not. I don't care for it.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't know that about you.
Yep, not a fan of the book or the TV show.
I've never seen The League.
Fair enough. I'm also not a fan of that.
Saw the house. My main takeaway was needed less you.
How dare you? How dare you? I will say, finally, one of your books has ended.
To be honest, I feel the same way.
Well, no, we'll get to Invincible, the end of Invincible. But I would like to talk about Oblivion Song.
Sure.
I've just read 3 issues. That's right. You guys only read 1, you morons. I got to read 3, and it's fantastic. Congratulations. I would like... In the letter in the back, you talk about how this has been gestating for a decade, more, I don't know. Some very long period of time. On what level, how much of that is just a loose idea that's, out there, and how much of it is something you've actually been... systematically working on for those years?
Pretty much a loose idea. I mean, I got the idea right when I signed my contract at Marvel, and I was at Marvel for 4 years, and while I was there, I was limited to how many books I could do.
And you, at Marvel, created the character Spider-Man, correct?
Spider-Man, Captain America, all of the Avengers, really.
Yeah.
Only 2 of the X-Men.
Only 2 of the X-Men did you create?
Yeah,
Gambit,
yeah. I mean...
And Bishop.
Yeah, Bishop. I love Bishop.
So you started working on this when you went to Marvel?
when I first started.
So you didn't want them to have it?
Well, yeah, you
Gotta
can't.
keep it
You
away
don't do
from me.
original books for Marvel.
No.
You just do the Gambits and the Bishops and whatever other characters
Yeah.
you create for the X-Men.
I get you, Mon Cher.
But yeah, because you got to get that. You got to get those sweet royalties. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
You can't let that all go to Feige and
No way.
Perlmutter. That's
Sure.
the- that's
Ike?
the guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is all inside comics here.
Yeah.
We're having a great time.
But
Guys, we're
I'm
having
having
a great
fun.
time.
I don't know how you guys are doing, but it's really not that important. I mean, my sphere of caring ends at the rug.
Yeah.
So.
That's interesting considering your family is here. That's a fascinating reveal.
Let's less about that the better. But no, I mean you come up with these ideas and then they're kind of in the back of your head.
Mm-hmm.
I had the idea for the opening scene where the mysterious guy is shooting people with darts and you
Yep.
think he's like hunting people, but he's actually saving them from this other dimension. And I thought that was like a cool twist. And that just kind of sat there for a while, and then I just started thinking, who's this guy? And it's something that I would come back to, like anytime, it would kind of pop into my head. I'd add a little bit more to it, and
And at this
I'd write
stage, you're
notes
already well into Walking Dead and Invincible.
Oh, yeah.
And
this
you're at
is-
Marvel.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
you're like in the thick of it.
Oh yeah. But I feel like this is a pretty dense, like well-rounded concept because every 6 months to a year or so I'd get in there and I'd add a few more pieces and a character here and something else, and it gestated for a lot longer than say Walking Dead or Invincible, and so
Yeah.
there's more to it even from the start. It's a more robust story, I like to say.
And is it like for you because
I feel like this got boring real quick. I used the word robust just now. Did you catch that?
yeah, but
It came out of my mouth and I was
any
like,
word
don't do
that
it.
has the root word bust in it, I'm into, so I'm cool with it. Do you find
Combust?
Sure, I'll take it. For you, because I feel like you're somebody that has like what I would consider to be a devastating workload of stuff to be working on. Does it take
A
something?
good way of putting it.
Yeah. Does it take something like, and I don't know if this is just randomly coincidental, but does it take like winding down Invincible to be able to envision launching a book like this, or
Well, no.
are they just not? Is it not related?
Yeah, it's not really related. I mean, I've been working on Oblivion Song behind the scenes with Lorenzo, the artist, for 2
Yeah.
years. So we've, been working on issues while I was working on Invincible.
Yeah,
I
because
think-
that's one of the things you said, and the thing is like you're already at issue 13, if not
Yeah.
more, at this point.
Yeah, we're still on 13.
Yeah.
We're not,
So now you guys have just ground to a halt.
yeah, it's all over from
You're
there.
like, year one, we're
all-
great. Year
yeah.
two, we're late shipping everything.
Yeah, we're the hare just sitting behind the tree waiting for the tortoise to catch up. But we'll start running at some point. But yeah, I don't know. I forgot what I was going to say because I was real disgusted with that tortoise and the hare metaphor. thing I
Well,
was
here's
doing.
what I want to know is like how do you relegate bandwidth for new stuff while you're kind of dealing with a tremendous amount of other stuff that's already
That's what I was
actively
going to
going?
say.
Yeah.
I get so jazzed and excited when I start
Please
new
never
things.
use the word jazzed again. I don't know about you guys. I don't care for it.
I get so
I get so jazzed. Come on.
exuberant and
Great.
and my enthusiasm level rises to
Yep.
a peak jazz, I will say.
Wait a second. Peak jazz?
Yeah, sure. I don't get excited much. I don't know the words you use for that. But the adding new projects excites me and it helps me stay excited about the other projects. When I
I
move
get
on
that.
to new things, if I'm working on an Oblivion Song, I spend time on that and the world creation and working with a new artist and all the like figuring out new things and how
Mm-hmm.
the world works. It really kind of gets my brain moving, and then that is so difficult because it's such an alien experience doing something new that then I go back to Invincible or Walking Dead or Outcast, and it's like, oh, I'm all charged up, and then
Yeah.
I just kind of breeze through this stuff. And I think it's a system that I think helps me stay prolific.
Yeah, and which you are in a very impressive way as someone who's been a fan of your work.
Tell me more.
Well, I mean, we've known each other for a couple of years now, but I feel like your writing has been a regular part of my life since Walking Dead or Invincible probably started, or just around there, and so it is kind of cool. It's always really interesting for me to, as a fan, to be in these worlds you create and really enjoy them, and then kind of get to go into a new one, because that's not very often. You're someone for whom you've carved out these very long, very kind of layered worlds that we live in for long periods of time. You're not somebody who's like, and I did my 20 issues of that, and then this book was only like 2 trades, and then and here's another story, and here's another story. You really are like giving us such rich worlds to inhabit, and so then when a new thing comes along, I find, and I don't know, I'm sure people here, it's very exciting. It's very exciting to be like, ooh, what are you, where are you now? Like how, like, where, it's like, because I feel like each of them represents like you in different stages of life in a way too, you know?
Well, we don't need to talk about that. I mean, that is a big fear of mine. Like people reading the books going, oh, Kirkman's working through this now, or he's got this issue.
Kirkman's dealing with mortality and those he's left behind.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want people learning things about me from
No,
these books.
people, this is not subtle at all. I do want to talk about how you, because you're in comics especially, again, like in a way that is slightly atypical, you're writing these long books and you're working with the same artist throughout. So how are you finding new people? How are you like this guy whose name I need to look at because it's wildly Italian?
It's Lorenzo De Felici.
Okay, great. Perfect pronunciation. I'm sure he'd be thrilled with it.
It's correct.
How are you? I'm sure it is. How are you
I was saying De Felici.
And he told you.
And he was like, oh, no, it's, no. He actually said, I'll
funny.
just tell this story. He goes, you're close. And so, and because I was phonetically spelling it out.
Yep.
And he just went back and forth with me in this email like, oh no, you got this wrong, you got this wrong, you got this wrong, and I was deciphering like all of his phonetic spellings because he's Italian and so it's somewhat different. And then after like a day or two of emails back and forth, I realized I was just saying D instead of day.
Oh, that's amazing.
But he made it sound so much more complicated than that.
Well, he's Italian.
Yeah.
So what you're not getting in the email is all the gesturing.
Yes. And now we've offended all of the Italians. In the
But
audience.
like 6
They're
Italians
like, I can't
get up.
stand this
No,
anymore. I don't understand.
I won't take any more of this.
Oh, I'm gonna leave.
We're getting out of here. That's the spicy meatball.
Come
right?
on, Luigi,
That's what he
let's
talks
go.
Like, right? How are you finding? Like, how are you? I don't know. I mean, how are you finding new people? How are you tracking who's young and up and coming, or what? You know, who are the people that you want to work with? What gets you excited about those people? All those kind of questions. Answer them all now for us, please.
Yeah. Well, great. So here's how you find a comic book artist. You go on the internet. And
Now,
you Google
I've heard
comic
about
book
this
artist.
internet before. Tell us about it.
It's like a web of computers that are all
Interesting.
connected. They all share information.
Okay, like
And
Spider-Man's
each
web?
computer is an access point to this massive network
Interesting.
that houses all the information in the world.
Interesting. Robert, question. Is there pornography on this instrument?
So past the rug is where my family is.
Oh, right.
So
We'll move on from that.
Yeah.
But no, yes. So you found him on the internet.
For the most part. But I mean, I'm a huge comic book fan, so I'm always reading new comics, falling in love with new artists, you know, getting to know their work, making lists like, oh, I want to work with that guy one day, I want to work with that guy one day. And then sometimes the years go on and their art, I get less interested in it, and so I'm like crossing them out. That happens
Have there been people that you are like, and I'm curious.
I'm going to name names. No, I'm done.
No, not like that, but I would say the opposite. Have there been people that you're like, ooh, I want to work with that person, I want to work with that person, and then that person like blows up on something, and you're like, ah, nuts.
Oh,
now
that's
someone else discovered them.
That's definitely happened, and you know, and then I still go after them. There was one. I'll tell this story. It's funny. There was this one artist that I was really after. That's just fantastic. I'm not going to name him, but he's fantastic. I've loved his work for many, many years, and he broke my heart. He turned me down like in like so many different. I would email him and be like, let's do a book together. And he's
Really?
like, yeah, no, sorry. I think he's like kind of winding down his career and he doesn't want to like do. He's just winding down the projects he's doing now. But I wouldn't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
And I'm really obnoxious. I don't know if you guys can tell.
No.
And so,
I've known you for a couple of years and can say you're very obnoxious.
So yeah, so I had hassled him to the point where he stopped replying to my emails, and so cause I'm like, who wouldn't want to work with me? But
so many people. Is
So
the
then
answer.
I'm not going to finish this story. so I found out he was coming to Long Beach to a convention, and so I was like, I'm going to Long Beach. I'm going to talk to this guy. I mean, he's not going to be able to say no to me in person. This is going to be awesome. And so I got some buddies together, and we're going down to the Long Beach Con. And
I like you've got some buddies together like you're going to beat them up.
yeah,
Hey, I need you guys to have my back for this old man comic artist because he's saying no to me.
not gonna go to a comic book convention by myself, and I did
Why not? Everybody else does.
We did end up we did end up roughing
That's
him
right,
up.
nerds. I'm taking shots.
Yeah, nerds are the worst. But so I went up to his table and I said, oh, and he kind of, oh, hey,
Yeah, did he?
And I emailed him about getting lunch that day.
Wow, okay.
And I was like, hey, did you get my email? I emailed you, and he
this
goes,
is great.
yeah, no, I'm sorry, I haven't gotten your email. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I just want to know if you could get lunch or something. And I told my wife, like, I'm going to this convention. I'm going to email him and see if he can get breakfast with me. I'm going to go there and ask him for lunch. If he can't do lunch, I'm going to go do dinner.
Oh.
I'm not going to spend the night there, but I'm going to be there for a while because I'm really trying to annoy this guy.
Did you have a specific thing that you wanted him to do with you, or now are you just...
Yeah, but I'm now doing it with different people,
Yeah,
so I'm
okay.
not going to say which project it was for.
Got
it. But so he's like, yeah, no, I didn't get your email. And I'm like, want to get some lunch? And he's like, oh, I can't get some lunch. I said, well, are you around tonight? Like, we could grab some dinner or something? And he's like, no, can't get dinner. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So do you want to go grab some coffee or something real quick? And he goes, yeah, no, I got a panel later, and I just gotta stay by the booth.
Oh.
I gotta stay by the booth right now. And so I looked at him because I don't give up, and I go, can I just come behind the table and just chat? And we'll just
Wow.
chat for a couple of minutes. And he looks at me and he goes, Robert, it's just not gonna happen.
Wow.
And it was one of the most profound moments of my life because my whole body just like went flush, and I was gutted, and I was like, it was like I haven't felt like this since I asked a girl to the
Yeah.
dance, and she was like, "You're a troll,"
Yeah.
And so
That is like very high school.
was the
That
best.
brings you straight
the
back.
best.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I went back after, and I emailed him and asked him to do a project with me.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So yeah, one day we'll do a book together.
I'm sure. That guy's name, Jack Kirby.
Yep.
Am I right?
Yes, Jack Kirby.
Kirby dots. Anyway,
For those at home, Jack Kirby died in 1994. But so this was 1993.
oh yeah, of course. So how long were you tracking Lorenzo before you kind of approached him?
I found his art online because Corey Walker, who I work with,
Sure.
co-created Invincible.
Invincible, yeah.
He knows that I do a lot of projects with different people, and so he is always trying to prevent me from working with artists that he doesn't like. And
Oh,
so he's
funny.
always like, this guy's real good, don't work with that guy. And that's kind of cool. And so,
So he's kind of like your middleman for finding people.
sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah. And so he had turned me on to his DeviantArt page. That's like
Yep.
an artist website where they post drawings and stuff. DeviantArt sounds terrible. I don't
It
know
does,
why
but
that's
it's
what
like
the
a-
website's called.
yeah.
But it's just video game, comic
Yep.
book art, stuff like that. But and I saw his art, thought he was fantastic, and I just kind of kept popping in and seeing the new stuff that he would post, and I thought he, you don't know because I'm in the U.S.
Yeah.
Like I thought he was like some huge, his art's fantastic, and the stuff he was posting was so amazing. I thought he was like some, 60-year-old guy that'd been drawing Italian comics forever, and he had done some Dylan Dog, which is a huge Italian comic.
Sure.
And so I was like, this guy's not gonna, because I had some different projects I wanted to do with him over the years, and I was like, he's probably too busy. And then eventually when I decided, okay, I'm gonna start doing this Oblivion Song book, and I'm actually gonna, find an artist and settle on things, I was like, he's perfect, because Oblivion Song has very mundane human scenes where people in clothes talk and are very emotional. It has like really crazy action scenes, which a lot of artists can't do both of those things.
Sure.
And then it also has an entirely different world filled with monsters. And
Well,
stuff.
that's
And
what's
so-
going to be my question is like, yeah, how much of what you're looking for is this book has like exactly all of these different components, monsters, like a kind
Yeah.
of the world of Oblivion is this kind of alternate dimension. How much of it is like, oh, he will jibe with exactly what I'm envisioning
Yeah,
for
I mean,
that.
that's exactly it. And being able to see the art that he posts, because a lot of it is stuff he draws for fun. And so it's like, if this is something he draws for fun,
Yeah.
then this is something he really enjoys doing. And so he'll enjoy doing this book. And but when I contacted him, I didn't know it at the time, but he had just stopped being a colorist for other artists and
Oh.
had just kind of broken in, but had gotten the Dylan Dog gig and was like looking to find other gigs and was like, oh my God, I'm totally,
Wow.
like he was thrilled. So
That's
so
exciting.
The timing was great and it all
Yeah.
worked out.
That's pretty cool. That must be, for him, that must be a pretty amazing call to get.
Yeah, I mean, I thought
Especially
for
at
sure
like
he
the
was
beginning.
I thought he was just gonna look at me and say, Robert, it's just not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
But
he
it,
didn't.
it does seem like for you,
didn't.
those are few and far
Yeah.
between.
And I ruined that artist's career, by the way. I just want to let you guys know.
You did?
Well, he's completely blackballed now. Yeah, I hold a grudge.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's not true.
How much, like, so this book, just we touched on it a little bit, just loosely for anybody who maybe hasn't read it yet or anything like that, is another Robert Kirkman apocalyptic, like,
Completely in a rut.
will you be upset if you die of old age?
Oh, without getting to the
Without an
apocalypse?
apocalypse happening? Like, is that going to be like a bummer for you?
Definitely not.
If you
I
don't
think-
see some pandemic,
no,
war, some
no.
like world-destroying cataclysm.
I think that my work involves that kind of story because I am so terrified of something
Yeah.
like that happening. Like I can't grow a plant.
You can't, because that
No.
is one of my questions.
Yeah.
Question
Like,
13: Can you grow a plant?
I saw that, so I just wanted to jump
yeah,
ahead a
just
little bit.
jump right on
Yeah.
that. Okay,
But,
got it.
I'm not-
Well, you heard it here first. Kirkman can't grow a plant.
But I'm not capable. I couldn't survive
Yeah.
any kind of break in civilization whatsoever. Like if I go to the grocery store and there's no food there, I just die.
Like a friend
So-
of mine was in Hawaii on vacation when they had that missile.
Oh, I would go
Alert.
outside and be like, I'm out.
And I was talking to him about it. He was like, you have that moment where it's like, it's real. They're not saying it's a drill. It's real. He was like, I had that thought, should I kill my family? Should I kill my family so that it's just over?
I just want to say for the record, would not have been my first thought.
No.
I promise. My daughter is very surprised, as if she,
As if that's an impossible thought.
or as if she like is offended that it wouldn't be my first thought or
Yes.
something. Like, it's clearly going to be miserable. Why wouldn't you put us out of our misery? But
No, her
anyway.
first thought is I have to kill my dad immediately.
Some truth to that statement, but you know.
But he really was like faced with that reality, like, and I mean, obviously we are so saturated with, pandemic threats or this and that, and all of these kind of, we're particularly now at a time of heightened kind of threats and security and da-da-da-da-da. How much of that do you feel like creeps in on where you are and like settles in on your kind of fears or anxieties?
Probably too much. That's
Yeah.
why all my books are so similar.
Yeah.
They're not that similar.
They're
but,
not.
But yeah, it's certainly something that, I mean, not only is it something that, I have young children, it's always in the back of my mind. Like I want to make sure that I do some kind of thing to, make sure that they have some kind of world to live in, which I don't contribute to at all in any real way. I mean, let's be completely honest. But
You've got this rug going,
yeah,
so that's
true.
fine.
That's true. When they wake up in the morning, their feet aren't cold. 'Cause they got like a warm rug
Exactly,
to
perfect,
put
see?
their feet down on. But let's do more. Let's do more on the rug.
More rug work. Oh,
But,
yeah. It'll come back at least 3 more times.
Yeah, I mean, I also think it's a fascinating topic. I mean,
Yeah.
it's something that especially with The Walking Dead. I mean, we all like to sit around and think about like how heroic we would be, or,
Sure.
or what kind of sacrifices we would make for our family, but you never really know until you're in one of those situations and dealing with different characters and this guy rises to the top and this guy he thinks he would be heroic but he's actually a terrible person and
Yeah.
and just going through a cast and figuring all those things out. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
It is, and it's really fun to read. As like I said, as a reader, having read all these books for so long, one of the things I enjoyed about just these issues that I've read so far was like Walking Dead. You've got people. They have been, society has been decimated. People are trying to really try and figure out how to continue, how to move forward, how to rebuild, blah, blah, blah. What's really interesting about this book is the people for whom they were stuck in oblivion,
Yeah.
the alternate dimension or reality, whatever it is exactly. The people that are stuck in the alternate dimension, some as long as 10 years, who get returned just get returned to normal life.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that I found really interesting, is how difficult they are reacclimating. Just like the PTSD, the kind of the survivor's guilt, the kind of stuff that is for them, how they have how difficult it is to re-enter what for everybody else has just gone on as normal life. That's very different from the other stuff.
And that's interesting to me because it's not just a matter of they lived through the apocalypse and they had to struggle to survive and maybe they lost loved ones and things like that. They lived in another dimension. So, not only are you constantly being hunted by creatures, but you had to figure out what food was. You had to get used to a completely different kind of food source. You're living in a different environment.
So lots of food things I'm hearing. Yeah. What is food? What's the food source?
Yeah, like where are you getting it? What is it that you're eating? Is it plants? Are you eating crazy animals? Maybe I think a lot about food.
I'd eat those animals.
Really sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. By the way, apology accepted. Thank you.
Oh,
thank you for apologizing.
Right.
That means a lot to me.
I'm a very sincere guy. But even in the title Oblivion song, refers to just how alien the sounds would be in another world. Like we're very used to, cars and wind and trees and, animals, birds and different things that we hear. And if you were to go into another dimension, it's a completely different set of influences over your auditory. It's also a great thing to explore in a comic book.
Yeah. Comic book, a very auditory medium.
Yeah. It's actually a great cheat though, because I can hint at it and I can describe it, but I never have to figure it out.
Well, it's also interesting because it's a thing that in the book people can talk to each other about in a way that for those who have been there, they can share those exact specifics, the specifics about the sounds and all of those things. And like when the character says, if you want, when I'm over there, I'll record some of it to play for you. And the guy's like, no, I never want to hear those sounds again. Like all of those sounds, or when like the dogs are barking that freaks out the woman who's in the cafe, because it so reminds her of the monsters, that were just kind of constantly attacking them in Oblivion.
If anyone wants to know what it actually sounds like, I'll just for this audience here.
I would love it if you could recreate.
No, it's when you ever take like a raisin box and turn it into a kazoo.
Oh no!
It's like that.
Quick, anybody got a raisin box?
Has anyone ever turned a raisin box into a kazoo? Was that my childhood? Never. I see you people know anyone.
That guy did it.
Okay, it's great.
That guy gets it.
All right. I see it's the older.
Everybody
people.
else is like young people, and they're like, "What's a raisin?" You mean a craisin? Sir, I think you mean a craisin.
They got liquid go raisin.
I forget where I was going.
Did you like that raisin box kazoo joke really landed the way it did?
I thought it crushed. Right? He said backstage, midway through, I'm going to crush. Set me up, we'll talk about food, and then I'm going to crush with this raisin box kazoo joke. And I said, buddy, I will get out of your way. I am a comedian, but I will let you take this one.
I appreciate it.
Because it sounds terrific.
It'll go better the next time I do one of these things. Don't worry. I'm just workshopping it.
I am
I think
curious.
It's the inflection on box that'll really sell it.
Oh,
It'll be a raisin box, and then people will be like,
people are like, whoa.
Suddenly funny.
Ooh, a B and an X, very funny letters. In the same word, hilarious.
I agree.
It's not funny, raisin sack.
Okay.
Too soft up top.
Okay.
You need that hard B and that X at the end. Funny word.
I don't know what you're talking about right now, but I'm very uncomfortable that my family is here.
Have you never heard about what letters are funny and what letters aren't? It's nonsense. Don't worry about it. I know. So I assume then at a certain point you are writing Walking Dead, you are writing Invincible, you are writing this, and Outcast as well.
Yeah.
Yes? So how do you approach each of, in terms of, do you wake up and are like, oh, I'm in the mood for X, Y, or Z, or that's the thing that I'm most excited to keep going on, or is it literally like, I've got to get X done by tomorrow, is there any kind of, what drives you in terms of each thing? And when you're writing, I guess this is more because I'm curious, do you write to music, and is the music different for different projects?
Uh, I do write to music. That's why I'm a huge fan of a lot of bands, and I can't sing their songs. I don't know their lyrics because the music plays in the background
Yeah.
while I'm working and stuff. So I do that. I don't really change it. Sometimes I listen to more, like when I did Invincible, I'd listen to more upbeat music.
Yeah.
When I worked on Walking Dead, it'd be more depressing. Like
That's kind of what I'm
darker
wondering,
music.
yeah.
And I do feel like that helps sometimes.
Because
but,
I'm picturing you writing an Oblivion song to just like John Carpenter soundtracks.
Yeah. Beethoven or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, John Carpenter soundtracks. It's pretty good.
Pretty good. I write to John Carpenter soundtracks a lot, actually, and
Oh, yeah?
it's terrific.
So try that.
Oh, yeah. Steal that.
so-
Everybody can steal that. Because nobody knows that those are cool music to listen to.
So, but as far as like the different projects and things go, were I responsible, I would, write the stuff I feel most passionate about or that I'm most excited about in the moment and stuff, and that would probably be a pretty fulfilling endeavor. But I usually just write I pay attention to the artists, and I'm like, oh, this artist's going to need script soon. I'll write that. Oh, this artist.
So it's much more practical in that sense.
A little bit, but
Yeah.
I will, while I'm in that process of, oh God, Paul needs more Outcast. Oh, Charlie needs more Walking Dead, and Charlie's super fast, so he always needs more Walking Dead, and it's a real pain. But I will have scenes for other books that I'll think of, or that I'll have been working on, and I'll kind of nail down a structure for, and so I'll break off and write a rough version of that scene so that I have it. And I try to do that as often as possible, and that's really good too, because then I'll sit down and be like, oh, I got to write some Outcast for Paul, and I'll open the document, and I'll be like a page or two in, and then I'll get like 3 or 4 pages I already wrote, and I'll be like, oh my God, oh, this is awesome. I've totally got some skeleton here to build off of.
That's great, yeah.
This is only going to take 45 minutes instead of 3 hours. So that's fun, but I guess that's really the process.
Yeah. So it's art. A lot of it is the art is driving you.
Yeah, except for like the rare, there's maybe like 2 or 3 times a year where I'll actually get ahead of schedule. And artists will be like, oh my God, Robert, you've turned in so much script. This is amazing. Is it going to be like this from now on? And I'm like, yes. Don't worry. Smooth sailing from here on out. I promise I will stay on top of things. This is going to be great.
Also, I'm announcing a new book.
Pretty much. It's a sickness.
Yeah.
And though when I get to those times, then I'll write 2 issues of this guy, and I'll go over here and do this, and that's a lot of fun. And then eventually I fall behind, and then it's back to the grind.
How much of what you're doing is tending to all the things you have going, and then how do you carve out enough space to, like in this case for Oblivion Song, to be work? Because I would assume, and obviously you worked on this for many years, but
Sure.
I would assume that period of time where you are building something is incredibly time consuming. Because you are like having to establish everything. You're not just furthering a story, you are building, especially in something like this, 2 different distinct worlds, characters that live in both, but then traverse between, all of this kind of architecture, all of this geography, all of this stuff you're building. Like, how do you carve out enough time to have those moments? And do you ever find that you start that process and then realize, oh, there's nothing here? Do you know what I mean? Do you ever start building something?
This book is not worth doing.
Kind of. Like, do you ever find that? Like, is there ever a point where you're like, oh, I don't know that this is actually has the weight, or the longevity that I would want?
Well, I feel like whether they gestate for a year or 10 years, every project I do goes through a period of, where I'm feeling it out and thinking about it and adding to it and things like that. And like I said, Oblivion Song started with that one scene, and then it would keep popping up into my head, and I'd add things to it. There are other projects where I've come up with a scene, and I've never thought of it ever again. Like I've written it down, and I'm like, oh, I'll do this one day, and then it never comes back up.
Does anything ever then find its way into an existing book, an idea that you were like, oh, maybe I'll do something about that. It doesn't really work, but I could use it as just a component of...
Yeah, the villain Angstrom Levy in Invincible was a character in another comic that never happened.
Okay.
And oddly enough, Michonne was actually a character that was going to be in a different project that never ended up happening. And so then I was like, oh, it'd be cool if somebody had a samurai sword in Walking Dead.
Yeah.
But those are really rare instances.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's something that, is not good, and so it doesn't get used.
Yeah, I get that. I wanted to ask you, that brings up,
Sure.
I wanted to ask you, how did it feel to wrap up Invincible. This is a book that you've been writing for 15 years?
15 years,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it was weird because I wrote the last issue and I was like,
Yeah.
I wrote the last issue. I'm done. This is awesome. And then I wanted to write the next issue.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, no, stop it. And in building up to the last issue, I would, I could do this. And, and this could build to that. And,
Is that just muscle memory, though? Because you're always, whenever you're writing, whatever you're writing makes you think of other avenues to go down?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
And I really...
Because it sounds a lot like you're saying right here, right now, exclusively,
that
that you have other ideas for more Invincible.
Oh, yeah, it's good. We're debuting it next month. It's going to be great. Big announcement.
It's back, baby.
Invincible is back. It was gone for 1 month. 15 years, 1 month off.
But the
back in.
demand was there.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, I really love the characters, and so you kind of miss them, and the idea of not writing them again is kind of somewhat upsetting. But also the idea of having free time kind of outweighs that. So, so I'm kind of.
And it's also like
I'm kind of happy that it's over.
You also are not like hurting for things to throw your time into.
No, because I also have the TV nonsense going on too, which sometimes.
Now, somebody outside before the show was saying that The Walking Dead is on TV.
Yes. Yeah.
Is it well
It's
watched?
on FX or Sci-Fi or one of those.
It's on one of those.
Yeah, the ones that are on the TV, not like Netflix, which is like on a phone or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no. Well, you can only watch Netflix on your phone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is true.
It's like a Samsung exclusive, right?
Exactly.
How did it get so popular with those exploding phones? I don't understand.
A lot of people are blaming The Walking
Is
Dead
that what they
for
mean when
exploding
they say
phones.
Netflix is blowing up? Is that what they're
Yep,
talking about?
that's exactly what
Okay.
they mean. Blowing
Thanks
up
for
on
laughing at
Galaxy
that.
7s. So TV, because you both you have that, and then have had Outcast at Showtime. Cinemax, apologies.
I get them mixed up
same
as well.
parent company.
The non-HBOs.
Same parent company. They're all, I believe they're all owned by the same company. It doesn't matter. I'm sure they think it matters.
We'll all be owned by one company eventually.
I think we are currently.
Yeah, I think so.
So is there, you've had obviously a lot of luck translating things to TV.
Sure.
This, very different. Like as a property, this is like high fantasy. This is like big, crazy. Like, do you see this translating in a similar way? And if so, to TV, to film? Do you have a plan? Are you just seeing what happens, or?
Well, I mean, you get that reputation, when Walking Dead gets turned into a TV show and Outcast gets turned into a TV show, people will be like, well, these comics are just TV pitches, and I'm very proud of the fact that, like, it'd be very hard to sell that as Oblivion Song. Like, Oblivion Song does not seem like a TV pitch whatsoever.
Not at all.
I think it's almost unproducible in the television space, but we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah.
And it's really not something that's in the back of my mind. I mean, I have enough TV shows. I don't really care.
Yeah, of course.
Walking Dead's enough. That's fine.
Yeah.
Fear the Walking Dead. You get
Oh, yeah,
Secret
of
History
course.
of Comics. It's
Yeah.
just I'm sick of television. And so
All of us are.
So it's fun to be able to go back to, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
But,
please, guys, watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Let me just take a couple minutes here to talk about Brooklyn Nine-Nine and The Good Place on NBC.
More like The Great Place.
Ha Because that is, I was reading this and I was like, ooh.
This is the best laugh I've gotten from a terrible dad joke in a long time.
I was reading this and I was like, ooh, this would be very hard to make into a TV show, but I could see it as like as a movie. Like in my mind, I was like, ooh, this is like a big movie that takes place.
You're backing me into a corner, man. There's nothing I can talk about.
So, who is directing the movie? Can I star in it? I would love right now to audition for the movie.
Well,
all right. Does somebody
Let's see
have
it.
the comic? Thank you. For those who don't have it, this is what the comic looks like.
man, I regret this.
Okay, I will be auditioning for the part of...
I'll tell you who you're auditioning for.
Okay,
after
great.
this.
You tell me. Oh, I know it's going to be a dumb monster.
Certainly not
And
going to be
all-
the lead.
All I'm going to say, my whole line is going to be like, Herc?
Here, you're this newscaster.
Oh, how dare you?
All right.
I'm the newscaster in the background? In the background?
Make me believe it. There are no small roles, only small
Oh
actors.
boy, I wish I had my glasses. By the way, all the actors are small.
I know.
They're all like this tall. Lost in oblivion for 10 years, Thomas and Patricia Crenshaw have had an emotional reunion with their family earlier
stop.
today. Yep.
He's not a sportscaster.
Huh?
This is a serious.
It's a newscast.
This is a serious news anchor.
Okay.
So
you know what?
hold on. We want
be sports.
We want gravitas.
Yeah.
All right, and we want feeling because he's trying to put emotion behind this
Got
report.
it. No, these are great notes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lost in oblivion for 10 years. Thomas and Patricia
Are
Crenshaw.
you doing a voice? You don't have to do a voice.
Yeah, no, I'm doing I'm on the news though. Right?
All right.
News guy.
I'll allow it.
How about this?
You explore.
Lost in oblivion for 10 years. Thomas and Patricia. This is like a future world, right? This takes place in the future when people talk like this.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not doing this anymore.
All right. Well, that was fun.
No. Don't humor me. I don't deserve a reward for that. Let's see. What did I write on the back of it? Oh, there was a question on Twitter that I wanted to read.
Well, if there's nothing I love, it's questions from Twitter.
Of course. But I saw this and I was like, I don't have an I see what's happening. Oh, guys, it's going poorly.
Is it Robert? Why are you such a hack?
No.
Is it Robert? You killed Carl. Now I'm going to kill you. Is it those happen from time to time? I don't want you guys to worry. They're not real threats. Daddy's gonna be fine.
Oh.
Trust me, you'd be better off.
Okay, Chris Lawrence asks, at Robert Kirkman, you really need to cast Jason Mantzoukas in At the Walking Dead. With the hair and beard, he already looks like he's been surviving for a while. Crying, laughing emoji. Robert, what say you to this question? Why hasn't Jason Mantzoukas been cast in The Walking Dead?
Well, unfortunately, with some actors, the talent is there.
Yeah.
And the work ethic is there.
Sure.
It's just, there's something about their personality that will not mesh well with the rest of the cast.
Interesting. I'm hearing that cast is a bunch of dicks.
No, it's
and you
not.
don't want to subject your dear friend
It's
to
kind of
those
the
clowns.
it's kind of the reverse, really. But
how dare you? How dare you? Andy Lincoln would be proud to have me by his side.
Andrew Lincoln has specifically
Wait a minute.
said
He loves my work?
that guy with the hot dogs from the league.
Yes.
If he ever shows up on this
you
set,
do watch it.
I'm out.
You do watch it.
This is
You
what
just
Andy said. I have no
busted
idea what it
yourself.
means. Are you like a hot dog salesman on the league?
Yes,
or what
I
is it?
am.
Okay, that's good.
What is beep? Oh, this is a follow-up to my question about whether you're going to be sad that
I was
there's
hoping
no
you would
apocalypse.
follow that up.
Do you have a go bag?
No.
What?
Maybe.
How do you not have a go bag?
Do we have a go bag?
Wow.
We don't have a go bag.
Wow, the man who specializes.
It's like a bag of nonsense.
That's like when the earthquake
It's a
hits.
placebo. Like if a volcano comes, as long as I have this backpack, it's completely
Did you
useless.
say we used to?
Oh
It
yeah.
expired?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. Kids, we're screwed.
I am shocked you don't have a go bag.
Yeah, I don't.
You don't really think it's coming for you? You don't think did
I
moving
don't
here make
think surviving is the goal for it to happen.
Right. You're just like, boom, we're done.
Yeah, like that warning comes in Hawaii,
Yeah.
and it's me and my wife arguing because I want to go in the yard and get it over with.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be the guy that cooks and grows a third arm and like
Yeah.
eats my family. You know, that's not where I want that to go.
So
I
you
just
think-
want a bright white light and then vaporized.
Yeah.
That's I feel like that's the
But you
know,
think we're headed for
that's the best case scenario.
a post-apocalyptic society in which we're all just cooking with 3 arms?
Yeah. Right?
You know what?
I mean, that's what happens
It
if there's
could
like a
be
nuclear
worse.
missile that goes off, right? You grow a third arm.
everybody immediately gets a third
Well,
arm.
it's like everyone within like a 50-mile radius is vaporized.
Sure.
And then from 50 miles to like 100 miles, it's like 3 arms.
Yeah. We were in the 3 arms zone.
But not like a cool 3-arm, like I got a cool arm over here that like helps me do things. It's like
Sure.
like a gross arm that like comes out of the middle of your chest,
But like
or
if you're just
out
a
of the side
little-
of your head or
If
something.
you're just a
or-
little further out, you've maybe
Yeah.
got like some extra fingers sticking out
Yeah,
someplace.
that's good.
You don't get the full
That's good.
arm.
If you're lucky, you just get like a little baby arm
Yep.
off your cheek.
Yep. I'll
You
take
can, like,
that.
You can like feed
Oh,
yourself
I'd
with
love
it.
like a
It's
couple
like-
of little doll
Okay.
arms just hanging off of me.
Yeah,
Functional doll arms.
that'd be good.
Guys, right?
Yeah, we went out to this live talk, and it was Kirkman
was
and
weird.
Mantzoukas, and I swear they talked about people growing doll arms.
Doll
for-
arms out of their bodies. And
4
well,
minutes.
that is a long story about how we got this rug.
Rugs and doll arms. That's what we're calling this. one.
We're going to go to you guys in a second, so if you've got a question percolating, there'll be someone with a microphone who will come around.
And if you don't have any questions, it's more of this.
Exactly.
So please.
So please ask your questions.
Yeah.
Does anybody have a question? Anybody want to raise their? Ooh, real
So
quick.
I'll bring a microphone to you. Just a quick reminder with questions at Live Talks LA, they generally start with a W or an H, sometimes a D. They are generally short also. Only Jason gets to ask follow-up questions. And there is no such thing as a 2-part question.
Yeah, if you ask a 2-part question, I'll forget one of those parts.
Yeah.
It's easy. We have a horse farm in Sonoy.
Okay.
And we're just wondering first of all, how the show transformed the town is amazing.
Oh yeah, Sonoy is the town in Georgia where the studio that we filmed The Walking Dead is in, and the actual town of Sonoy was Woodbury and is now Alexandria. So, and some other things. But go
And
ahead.
you guys live there, and
And we live here too. We live
got it. Okay, great.
So you're wealthy.
Well, I have a medical issue, so I'm in
Awesome.
treatment. So yeah, right. Third arm. So my question to you is, where do you see the future of the town and filming in general, with Marvel being at Pinewood and Walking Dead? Do you see more things happening for us with the great businesses there too?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, you know, I don't want to spoil anything in the story, but you know, we're not planning on leaving that area anytime soon. But we might. But we probably won't. But you never know. But yeah, I mean, you know, Raleigh Studios right down the street in Sonoy is you know, has been the home of The Walking Dead for a while, and you know, that was built into the prison and is now the hilltop's right next to it. It's the sanctuary. That's what it is. And the farm that Herschel's farm is like right next to that studio, and that's where we built the kingdom. And so until we stop using those sets, we're not going anywhere. So, you know, and we spent a lot of money on those sets. So we gotta wring them.
Is
those
there
things
any
dry.
truth to the rumor that you make the cast live in those sets full time while they're shooting?
We consider it more of an opportunity, but they're not allowed to leave.
Yeah, smart. Get them in the mindset.
Yeah.
And I will ask your follow-up question for you. Any use for any horses in the upcoming seasons?
We're always down for killing some horses.
Great.
So not for real, like on the show.
No,
Like, come
the
on.
horses just act killed.
Yeah, it's come on. We'll kill a 6-legged horse. That's an abomination. Go ahead.
Hey, Robert, with your series that you do, how much of it do you pre-plan from start to finish? Like when you're developing them, like Oblivion song, have you figured out the end of the series by now, or is it still kind of in flux?
I have a vague idea of what I want the end to be, and I know the duration of the series. I mean, it'll be fairly long, but you know, I do have an end goal in mind. I mean, I have an end goal in mind for pretty much everything that I do, Walking Dead included. It's just that, you know, it's many, many years off. I think that, you know, I as Jason was saying, I do these comics that last for decades because I don't know how to get to the point. Much the same with this answer. And I don't like writing endings. So in order to make that a satisfying experience, you need to always be building to something, and the story itself needs to be evolving in interesting ways. And I know a lot of people think Walking Dead's real repetitious, but I disagree. So in order to do that, you have to have like an end point in mind, and so I'm always kind of working towards that and seeding things to build to that. So
And I feel like in one of our other conversations, in one of these things, you talked about like finding like things like Negan or somebody that comes along and you're like, ooh, like I feel like you were telling me that you had something else in mind at that point, but he popped up and you were like, well,
Yeah.
this is something I want to do now. And so everything else kind of got moved a little bit and you did that story.
Yeah, I mean, I keep things. Well, Negan was weird because he was actually only supposed to be alive for 6 issues.
Yeah.
His whole story was he was going to kill Glenn and then Maggie was going to kill him. And then I was, getting ready to write that issue, and I was like, I really like this guy. He's fun to write. You just start writing nonsense, and the next thing you know, it's like 3 pages of him talking, and you're done. It was very, very economic for me, and it helped me get scripts done. So I kept him around. So he'll never die. But but anyway, I do have leeway along the way to go off on tangents and add new things. That's why the books tend to go so long.
Have there ever been times when you thought you were getting close to an end with any of these books, only to discover like, oh wait, no, there's way more here? Like, were you ever like thinking of starting to tell the end?
Yeah, not really.
No.
I mean, that hasn't really happened. I mean, I've with Walking Dead, especially early on, I was only maybe only like 50 or so issues ahead of where I was planning to go. And I think there were some points where, I had an end point in mind that I've moved past, but I decided 5 years ahead of time, no, that's not where the story ends. I need to do this, and this, and so we changed it.
Cool. Great. Right up here.
I was just curious you talked about a lot how you juggle a lot of different projects, and I'm wondering, especially with the comics, since, you're the only writer, you're not, in a room, how do you keep track of your sort of roadmap? Do you use notebooks and lengthy outlines, or do you just kind of keep it all in your head?
I keep most of it in my head, which is why I often can't think of the right word for things, and I'm not that great to have a conversation with, but I do have a notepad on my phone, and I keep track of things, and I reread the books a fair amount just to make sure that I know. And you'll notice with something like Walking Dead, I'm not referencing issue 3 a lot, so I only have to remember the last 40 or 50 issues, to be completely honest. So it's not that. Most of those characters are dead before that point, So that does make it a little bit more manageable. It's not like I have to remember, 140 issues of Invincible and 190 issues of Walking Dead. Yeah, but you keep notes and you pay attention, and yeah. I mean, I will say, I don't know if you're a writer, but in my head, these things kind of exist like they're real worlds to a certain extent, and so, I sounds somewhat psychotic, I guess. But
well, you say that, but that's how it might seem to you. But I suspect for a lot of us, that's how it feels to us. When I go to the store and get my comics on Wednesday or whatever, I will look at what's in there and I will read first what world that I want to continue the story of the most. And that's, I feel like a very kind of the richness, the depth that you have kind of dug in on these worlds makes those almost always the first book I read, because it's like another chapter in a very dense story that I've been reading forever, except for this one, which is very new.
Yeah.
But
hopefully we'll get there. But if you stop reading, that's fine.
I'll let you know.
I appreciate it.
Don't you worry. I've got notes. Who's coming in here? Yep.
In the Walking Dead comics, you kill Shane off in the 5th issue, I think, but you leave him alive for very long in this show.
Yeah.
Why'd you do that?
Well, at the beginning of the comic book series, it was fairly early on in my career, and every other comic I had ever done had been canceled due to low sales. And so when I started The Walking Dead, it was started as, the zombie movie that never ends, but I did it at a time in my career where it was pretty big long shot that it would last past 6 issues. And so I had the idea for the Rick, Laurie, Shane love triangle and how it would end with, Carl shooting Shane, which didn't happen that way in the show. And I kind of made sure that entire story wrapped up in 6 issues, because at the time I didn't know if it would last past 6 issues. So when we started adapting the show, we were like, well, we can let this breathe a little and do a little bit more character work and not kind of rush through things as quickly as we did. And so it was kind of an opportunity to change things. I mean, if I could do the beginning of Walking Dead again, I probably would have spent 12 issues or so on that storyline before I moved on. Which you can tell because the story slows down way, like a whole lot after that. So yeah.
We have time for 2 more questions.
Some would say it's boring at times. I don't know, whatever.
The Walking Dead?
People seem to
the
like
comic or the show?
Both.
No, I hear that a lot.
I'm curious, Robert, what books or comics did you read when you were younger, in your childhood, your adolescence, that really inspired your mindset and sort of provided you with a lot of creative inspiration?
Yeah, I started reading comics in 89 or 90, and so I was fairly young. I read a lot of Marvel and DC stuff, but I read basically like the Spider-Man, X-Men stuff that was in the era when Image was being born, and so one of my favorite comics of all time is Eric Larson's Savage Dragon, which was a superhero book that had a character that aged in real time, and also was very heightened and insane and extremely violent, but it wasn't the kind of superhero comic where somebody would die and then another writer would take over the book and they'd bring a character back. It was all, Eric Larson writing and drawing every issue, and it had real stakes, and it was just a great continuing, story, and so I think that really inspired my career quite a bit. There's this really cool slice of life comic called Minimum Wage. Minimum Wage, I don't know, it's hard, there's a lot of M's there. It's by Bob Fingerman that I read when I was far too young to be able to read that legally, and because it's a bit saucy, and that's a really great book that was really good. There's a really great series by Matt Wagner and Pat McCown called Grendel Warchild that is very apocalyptic, and I feel like I probably took too much inspiration out of that when it gets down to it. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different comics that I read that were really good. Spider-Man.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that?
No.
Are there books currently that you're reading that you really like, or people, either writers or artists right now whose work you really like or really are into?
Yeah, I mean, I read mostly Image comics, and
Sure.
so everything from East of West to Saga to Kill or Be Killed, The Fix, when it comes out, Nick.
Nick Spencer on blast.
He's got Marvel books to write, but I don't know. There's a lot of really cool, there's this book called Headlopper.
Yep,
That's
I have
about
that book.
this
I like that book.
barbarian guy that cuts people's heads off.
Yep.
And then there's this really great book by this guy named Kyle Starks that's called Rock Candy Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
That's about a hobo that is really good at kung fu that is trying to find the mythical Rock Candy Mountain.
Yeah.
And he sold his soul to the devil, and the devil's trying to get him while he's trying to find Rock Candy Mountain, and it's great fun.
Yeah.
So comics, man, there's all kinds of weird
There's
stuff.
great
out
comics
there.
right now.
And our final question for the evening.
If you went in a time machine back in time to when you were a little kid,
Okay.
what would
The
one
beard is gonna be so cool, man. Don't worry. No one will ever see your chin. Go ahead.
what would you say to your young self now, as the most important wisdom from your whole life?
Well, I mean, the completely honest answer is I would not say anything, because I certainly had some tough times when I was young, and you always want to think about going back and being like, that bully, he works at a 7-Eleven now, and your life is so much better than his. So you won in the end. But I wouldn't do any of that because, I think that every horrible thing I lived through and every, thing I had to put up with led me to here, and I'm pretty happy with where I got. And so I would probably just look at the guy from, I might be like, less cheeseburgers, man.
Yeah.
Once you put that stuff on, it's hard to get off.
Really hard. The older you get, the harder it gets to take it off.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. But yeah, less cheeseburgers, I think, is the one. But
That's the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Less cheeseburgers. That should
Yeah.
be that should be
Yeah.
the official T-shirt from Skybound.
Yeah. Less cheeseburgers and maybe buy a rug.
It really ties the room together. Okay, so
I'm sorry, I don't have a better answer for that.
no, that's pretty good. I like that answer. I like the idea that we don't need to change. We don't need to go back and change our lives because
Yeah.
were it not for all of those things, we would not be who we are in this moment. All of us, you know. Here,
Assuming we
people-
like where we are now.
Yeah, I
If we don't, change away.
I suspect almost every single person is most excited in their life to be here right now, about to buy a rug.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
You know, like this.
We got to sell these rugs, man.
We gotta sell these
This
rugs.
curtain's gonna open
We're
up and it's just a
40K.
pile of rugs.
We're 40K in the hole on these rugs,
Yeah.
guys. Please,
Yeah.
please help us out, please.
Buy two.
Well, that's gonna end it here. Thank you
Great.
guys so much for your questions.
Thank you.
Thank you to Robert Kirkman. Thank you, LA Live.